online learning. Let's talk about it. Because Miss Rona has been making her rounds, and because of her rounds, we've had to move classes onto an online platform. I wanted to share with you guys how I've been dealing with the new school style we have going on. As someone that's taking 4 classes during my school's summer session, I've had my tango with online classes, and I wanted to share my tips and tricks on how I've been able to effectively study and perform well in these classes. I'm going to be sharing 5 different tips that I have implemented in my own study routine. I do have my notes, so you'll be hearing some ruffling every now and then. Tip number 1. Be realistic with yourself. The common misconception is quarantine equals more free time, but that doesn't necessarily equate to time being used wisely. I would strongly suggest that you guys look at your class's workload, get a feel for what the subject will be like online, maybe try to get to know your professor, and figure out if this is a good fit for your schedule. For me, being realistic with myself meant that I had to look at the course's workload and its content and its difficulty, and then from there gauge how much time I was willing to invest in the class. For example, on government, I took this class for only 2 weeks. I knew that this was a core class, so I had to have it, but I didn't have to invest too much time to it, as it didn't necessarily benefit my major. It was just something I had to get out of the way. So I tried to take this class in the least amount of time possible, and it didn't require a lot of effort on my end. Going on to psychology, I'm taking 2 different kinds of psychology. I just finished general, and I am now in lifespan and developmental psychology, I believe. I decided to take the 5-week session for both of those classes. I wanted to make sure that I understood the content, but I also knew that this wasn't going to be a super hard class in itself. Psychology isn't necessarily challenging, there's just a lot of memorization with it, so I thought 5 weeks was good for me and my own capabilities. And finally, my hardest class was microbiology, so I took the most amount of time that I could, which was 8 weeks. I'm currently in it right now. Definitely is challenging, definitely a lot more time invested into this class, so it was smart on my end to choose the 8-week session for this class. So by understanding the courses I was signing up for, understanding its difficulty and the content that I would be faced with, but most importantly, knowing my own willpower, I was able to effectively sign up for classes and apply for them accordingly. I highly suggest sitting down, being realistic with yourself, and asking, what can I get done? What does my day-to-day look like, and where can I fit classes in there? Tip number 2, write things down. Keep things on notebooks, keep it on your phone, use calendars. Notice how I didn't say planner, because I threw that away a while ago. My principle behind writing what you need to get done down on a notebook or just some scratch paper is, if you don't plan, you're planning to fail. By helping yourself and making sure that you have everything down from calendars, writing out your weekly go-tos, you're able to set yourself up for success. And there are days that you really don't feel like doing anything. By writing down what you need to do for the day or for the week, it's gonna allow you to be able to pick up where you left off, not feel lost, because even if you took a day to take a break and forget about school, you're easily able to get back on track. Tip number 3, and I believe this is the most important tip out of all 5, is avoid working for long periods of time. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with the Pomodoro technique. This says that you work for 25 minutes straight with a 5-minute break. After doing this for about 4 times, you take a longer break, which ranges from 15 to 20 minutes, and then everything resets. It's gonna allow you to be an effective studier. It's gonna make sure that you're not wasting any time passively reading textbooks or doing busy work. It's gonna make sure that the time you've invested into studying will actually help you in tests and on projects and overall your performance in the class. This technique doesn't necessarily work for me. I instead study for about 45 minutes straight, maybe even an hour depending on my mood for the day. That's just helped me, and it's helped me be more an effective learner because it avoids burnout. Tip number 4 is strive for consistency. For me, this includes a consistent place of study, a consistent study routine, and then a consistent study time. that 10 times fast. I prefer to study in my kitchen island because there's a lot of sunlight coming into this area. Sunlight just means I'm happier, I'm more awake, therefore I'm able to do better. I'm able to focus more on the content in front of me. In terms of a consistent study routine, I always start out by reading my notebook and prioritizing what I need to get done. By prioritizing what kind of task I need to get done for the day, I'm able to have a clear end in mind. You know, you always want to start with an end in mind, as Stephen Covey said. I think I said his name right, but this will just ensure that you're using your time effectively. I then go into my school's platform. We use Blackboard, and I check my emails just to make sure there hasn't been any changes in terms of a consistent study time. I study in the afternoons. I don't wake up early, and I don't just wake up and go straight into studying. I make sure that I kind of do some other things, maybe do some chores, something to eat, something that I like to do before going into school. Consistency prevents you from pulling all-nighters and running into unnecessary stress. Even if you're only completing 1 to 2 tasks a day, it's a lot better than trying to complete all 10 tasks the night before something is due. Tip number 5, celebrate the small successes. For me, this is important because online school is hard, it's challenging. She has a lot of baggage. So whenever I do well on a test, whenever I get positive feedback from a professor, or I finish a project that I've been working really hard on, I make it a point to celebrate. I celebrate by buying myself some boba. I love boba. It brightens up my day. And while I'm studying, it gives me something to look forward to. It's delayed gratification, you know, if I do well on this, if I get good feedback, if I even finish this, I'm gonna treat myself to some boba or something nice to eat, or maybe a nice movie to watch. Whatever it is that you guys end up doing, I really encourage you to relish the accomplishments you've made while being a student in the pandemic. It'll make learning online more fun and more bearable. I've shared with you guys my 5 tips to online learning, how I've been able to stay motivated, stay sane, and to perform well as a student working on an online platform. I hope that you guys were able to take away some tips and tricks you can implement in your own learning. Comment, leave a comment, like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. Let me know how y'all are doing. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Let me know what y'all want to see and I'll deliver. I'll see you guys next time. Here if you want to see how I study for anatomy and physiology 1 and 2. My tips and tricks here. I've also linked the notes that I used in class. I'm selling them on Etsy, so if you guys want to check that out.